Oh my god, through his... Yeah. What? He ate him. What are we... He still cries out for lust. Welcome back to another Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood video. Today we have episode 49. So first things first, during my marathon effort of watching 4 episodes in a row last session, I continuously forgot to give my thoughts on HOHENHEIM mentioning that, you know, Father's waiting for a solar eclipse. That's going to be the promise day. So I've said I'll give my thoughts on that in this intro, episode 49, because I forgot to talk about last episode as well. I recorded that in the same session, but I have nothing. You know, HOHENHEIM put some emphasis on, you know, to Alphonse, look up. You're too busy looking at what's going on. You need to look up. And Alphonse was like, oh, the sun god Leto, and now the solar eclipse has been thrown into the mix. We know there are suns and quarter moons littered all over the Xerxes mural. There was a big full moon in the sky during the destruction of Xerxes. And I really I don't have anything to add to that. Like, I don't think I can. Like, there is something to do with the sun. There is the lion swallowing the sun in the Xerxes mural, with the sun symbolizing philosopher's stones. And I think that's just all the information I need to have about that. As long as I can remember all of that, I think I'll be fine going forward. But at this point, I really don't know what a solar eclipse is going to do, how that's going to benefit Father or anything like that. We do just know that there was a big full moon out during the destruction of Xerxes. I don't know, maybe the sun needs to be blocked out or something. I don't know, it's just interesting, but I'm just going to keep all of that in my mind. Going into this episode now, we have Lan Fan and Fu getting properly back into the mix. Pride has just swallowed up Gluttony. HOHENHEIM could potentially start to get involved in this continued fight with Pride, and Roy and Hawkeye have secured Bradley's wife. But so far it has been a very long day and night, this final day before the promise day, and it seems like the promise day itself is going to be a very, very long day as well. But I'm hoping it's not too much longer before we actually get there, because I'm really keen just to get into all the crazy things that I know are about to unfold. But with all that being said, I'm going to get into the episode now. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 49. Filial affection. I don't know what that first word means, I'm not going to lie.
Can you hear me?
Okay, here we go. Straight into HOHENHEIM.
Wake up. Alphonse.
I know that smell.
He's sniffing. Look at his eyes. Were they always like that?
Do you think your father would step forward to save you if I chopped off one of your limbs?
Dude, look at Salim. Jesus, look at that. Oh, that was so cool. Dude, look at him. Help. He's good. Yeah, okay. Ling, how do we get out of this situation?
Oh boy. Heads up.
He said, oh boy. Oh my god, this... Oh! This Pride beat... Oh no, her arm's gone. Help! Help! Oh my gosh, okay. I don't know how I feel about this. The chopping.
Your arm obviously hasn't healed yet.
I can take care of myself.
Hey, come on.
Prove it to me and start acting like you can.
Ooh.
We're gonna need your help tomorrow.
That's facts. We need everyone we can get. Good.
Out of here!
Sorry I couldn't kill the little bastard.
You did what you could, man.
Can't exactly fault you for that one.
Yeah, look at him.
Even I consider him to be a monster.
That's Greed saying that. That's crazy. Hello? What's going on? Is this Alphonse? Somehow? What in the world is this? Here we go. Regaining consciousness. That's your dad, bro.
What? Dad?
Darius holding his head.
Dad, the homunculus Pride. He took control of my body.
I know. Mr. Gory has told me all about it.
It's Darius.
Glorious.
It was like he was manipulating my soul.
Okay, so that's what that was.
Violated.
I feel violated.
I are basically your relatives. They're like second.
Oh, of course. I never even thought about it like that.
To interfere with your seal since we share the same blood.
I see. That's why Pride was like reaching towards Alphonse's seal a few episodes ago.
Breed and Edward are doing everything they can, but I don't know how long they can last.
The sun's coming up.
This is all my fault.
It's almost the promise day.
This would have happened if I hadn't let Pride catch
No,
me.
you're doing what Ed does. Don't blame everything on yourself.
The fires have given him all the light he could wish.
It's the fires. It's not the sun coming up.
We need a new plan and
Hey, Dad.
Dude, how can we deal with everything else if we're struggling to deal with pride here?
I guess I know a thing or two.
I've got an idea.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna need your help to pull it
Wait, is
off.
he, or he's gonna transmute Al or something. I'm excited.
Now then, I can see you more clearly without those trees in the way.
Oh my god. Ooh, uh-oh.
There's not much point in trying to hide from me. I can smell
The
each
voice is crazy.
Are you still breathing over there?
Okay, what's gonna happen?
This isn't really the time to worry about others, is it, Greed? As soft as you've become,
Yeah.
I wonder how much longer you can survive.
Greed worrying about others is nuts.
What a horrific thing to say to your own brother, Greed. Honestly, I might have to eat you.
Oh my god.
It won't go down easy, brother.
Hey, yo. What's that? What's he smelling? Hello? Hello?
So you've
Hello?
chosen to show yourself.
Hohenheim? Okay, what's going on?
The hero always waits until the last second to make his move.
That's hard.
Hero,
Yeah, the hero?
you must think you can defeat me.
I'm not dumb enough to try and fight you.
Uh-huh. Look at his shadow, man. Oh my god, look at this man.
What could he possibly be thinking?
The real question.
Must be plotting something.
Where's Alphonse? Oh, look at him.
Here he comes.
Here he is. What's up? I didn't think it was going to be that easy. Yeah, that was it. No, there's something else.
You should have run when you had the chance.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Ow, no!
Yep. Here we go.
It seems as though your son enjoys being held hostage. It's either that or he's supremely stupid.
It's the real Al. I can see a seal back there.
That's crossing a line, Pride. Don't ever mock my son.
Okay. Philosopher's Stone. Ooh. Oh my god. Is he gonna... Wait. He's trapping him? Dude. Is this what Hohenheim can do? Oh, it's just like Roy and Lust. Look at this man. But Alphonse, look how big this thing is.
He actually managed to confine Pride.
Alphonse is in there though. Without breaking a sweat. It was easy. He didn't have to move.
What the hell are you doing? Al's trapped in there with that monster.
Come on, Ed.
Do something like that.
It wasn't my idea.
It was Alphonse's, bro.
Al was the one who suggested this.
You fell for it. You can't use your powers in this darkness.
Al and Pride are locked in here. But there's no shadows.
Inside this thing too.
Pride's voice the last few episodes has been driving me insane. I know there are a lot of Dragon Ball Z voice actors in this, but it's driving me insane. Like, I know I've heard this voice somewhere before. If I don't get it by the end of this episode, please leave it down in the comments because it's driving me insane.
Let's have a little test of endurance.
What if they sit in here the whole time?
Would you prefer to be called Pride? My body doesn't need oxygen or light or food.
Little war of attrition?
Perfectly comfortable right here until the promised day is over. And I'm gonna make sure that you stay put no matter what.
Okay. That could work.
It's been nearly impossible to defeat Pride.
I agree.
It's only a matter of time.
Look how big this thing is, man.
We've bought ourselves enough time to figure out how to destroy him.
Okay.
Could have at least told me what you were doing.
Your brother told me
Ed needs to chill at this point.
to be against it, okay? Al came up with this plan because it was the only way to make sure everyone would survive. Try to understand.
Come on, Ed. Look past your grudge that you're bearing here. He's not.
Brother!
Okay, they can talk. That's okay. I thought he was going to try and break it open.
Not much of a reunion, huh?
This is the first time they've properly spoken.
But I only have to stay in here for one day. I promise.
This is very favorable for them, though. It's much more of a blow having Pride locked in there for father than it is having Alphonse.
Envy's gone. Gluttony's eaten.
What are we saying, Greed?
Wrath is at Eastern Command.
Yep.
And they've got Pride under lockdown.
That's facts. It's just, but
So that means slaughter
Pops are the only ones watching over Central.
We know Bradley's out there somewhere though.
What the hell are you planning?
What's he doing?
I've told you.
Is he going? Wait.
I'm planning on ruling the entire.
He actually wants this? What's the play here then?
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Kimberly, it's been a hot minute.
Whatever happened to that fellow with the X-shaped scar across his face?
And here he is.
Speak of the devil and he shall appear. Any of you know how to get to the Kanama slums?
Kanama? Is it time for a big meetup?
Did that little girl ever meet back up with you guys?
That must be May.
You know, the one that always carried that cat around with her. She passed through here again just
A few weeks back. What's she been doing?
It sounds like she didn't go back to Shing after all.
Yeah.
What is that girl doing?
What's she been doing? She's got envy? What's going on?
You can drop the act. I know you were behind blowing up the train Bradley was on.
What was that?
That's just not true.
So you weren't behind it?
All that stuff about them being terrorists is nothing but paranoid nonsense. My brothers would never lower themselves to such a terrorist. We are allies, and this country will soon see them as heroes, not terrorists.
Okay. Kimberly, what's up? What's Kimberly been doing this whole time? Huh? Ishvalans? Okay, Kimberly, oh my god, he's been doing some work.
I need to learn to draw the line somewhere when it comes to my job. I spent a fortune having this suit tailor-made, and now it's filthy.
Yeah, alright, Kimberly.
The fun isn't even scheduled to start until the sun's up.
Demon.
It's not that hard to surprise you when you think so little of us humans. You think you've got us all figured out. You're too arrogant to see that things might not go your way.
Talk to him, Al.
Use us. The plan needed us, right? As your sacrifices? The whole thing hinged on us doing what you wanted. But what if we had simply decided to run away to a different country? That's all it would have taken and your entire plan falls apart.
I wonder if that's true.
And there are
Okay.
some selfish enough who would have done exactly what you said. But then, not all. Just look at Raph's wife. She risked her life trying to shield me with her body. She had no idea that I could have easily
Yeah,
protected
right.
myself, but I was genuinely shocked by her selfless concern for my safety.
Well, you are pride.
I've always known what it was to have a father, but I have never had what you would call a mother. I was quite intrigued by her and how she cared for me. And I realized what it was like to have a mother.
This is a very interesting conversation here.
How could you deceive her all this time?
I won't deny that I was just playing house with her.
Is it Go Tanks? Is it Go Tanks? It's driving me nuts. It could be Kit Trunks or Go Tanks. I'm gonna Google it right now because it's driving me insane. Okay, I looked it up. I still have no idea. It might just sound really similar. Obviously, there's some sort of filter like over the voice as well, but it's still driving me nuts. Anyway, let's continue. I definitely hear Go Tanks now though.
Deny that my time spent with her has been pleasant. I liked it.
That's really interesting.
As I was saying, there are a handful of humans like Raph's wife. They're willing to give up their own lives in
Right.
order to protect the things they care about. And one step up from them, we have you and your brother.
This is where I thought he was going with this.
For the
Yeah.
infinite strength of your spirits
Infinite strength of your spirits.
in this country. In fact, you even went so far as to bring the fight to us. So explain to me again, how were our plans so sloppy?
They knew they weren't gonna leave. Why does he keep hitting his head? Hughes' grave? Man. After all this time, we're still looking at Hughes. It's been so long. It's been almost 40 episodes at this point.
Should start getting ready.
Could be a little throwback to when they were looking at Hawkeye's father's grave here.
All right then, let's move out.
Let's go. What's up? Damn, that's a cool shot. Rest in peace, Hughes.
Happened to you? What caused that? Natural.
That's not natural, alright.
You can't really still think.
Little Chimera reunion.
No way, of course not. As soon as we start trusting you, you'll kill us. I would never.
I'm not falling for it. I bet Heinkel's hiding around here somewhere, just waiting for a chance to ambush us.
You're
Dr.
paranoid,
Marco!
idiot.
You're the idiot.
Oh,
We're all meeting back up.
You're still working with Scar. Sorry to have to spring this on you right away, but we really need to get...
Oh my god.
Piggy, Gorilla, and Fatty! Shut up and stop fighting!
Not the names.
Shorty!
Shorty. He's growing though, give him a break.
So you really did quit. I guess we all ditched him around the same time then.
Yeah, I love this.
Sounds like it. It was all too
All four of
obvious
them together.
they considered us to be expendable. That's the truth. Maybe and no matter what, I know for a fact that these guys
Ooh.
would never abandon us.
Nice.
Where'd the old guy head off to?
He's gonna do some recon in Central.
By
Okay.
himself?
Yeah, pointed out that he's the only one who's kept his identity hidden. So it'll be easier.
And he's a bloody ninja.
But I'm kind of getting the feeling that he's mostly concerned about Ling.
That's true.
That make
We figured out our strategy.
Uh-huh.
that so.
Uh-huh.
It's time, huh?
Pick up that coat, boy. You know what time it is. God damn, look at that.
They sure got some serious guts.
Al's doing everything possible to keep us safe. The rest of it, that's up to us.
Damn, here we go. Put that coat on, boy. And now the sun's coming up. Here we go. Here we go. It's the promised day. Oh, yeah.
The sun has risen.
It's time.
The promised day has begun.
All right. Post credits. Where are we? Brosh! Oh my god! I completely forgot. Do we get Ross as well, maybe?
What am I missing other than sleep?
The solar eclipse.
Yep. It's the promised day, man.
Hey, quick, come check this out. It looks like
Okay.
there's a building on fire.
Oh god. Yep. Oh dear. Is it starting?
Outside the house today, all right?
It's Roy. It's the squad. It's Roy squad. Look at him.
SETI squad is currently engaged in combat with Mustang's group in the western sector.
They got Bradley's wife.
The Fuhrer's wife is expendable.
Damn. That's not coming from Bradley though. That's coming from this guy. Look at Hayate in the mix. I love it. Okay. Oh shit. Hawkeye's got Bradley's wife at gunpoint.
Are you going to shoot?
They just might. All they need is Bradley.
The only one we need alive is Mustang.
Excuse me, is Roy. I said Bradley. Nah, you won't. Oh, Jesus Christ. More gunshots. There's always some twist with that. I'm not gonna... There's always a twist. Hawkeye's probably fired off her gun and distracted them. I don't know. It is what it is. Anyway, let's get to talking. Okay, once again, I think we're in for a shorter discussion. There's not a lot of crazy story things happening these last few episodes. It's just this big fight, this big build up to the promised day, which it seems like we are at now. So we open up continuing our fight with Pride. Some really cool sequences there with Pride fighting against Ed and Greed. And pretty much the entire fight, it does feel like, how in the world do we defeat Pride? Like after eating Gluttony, Pride just seems more monstrous than ever. I don't know if Salim's or Pride's eyes have always looked like that, or if it's just an after effect of consuming Gluttony, but it looks really cool. It's kind of like a little purple shade to it. I really like it. But Pride's going around with his chop hands, the crocodile hands, you know, crocodile shadows, whatever you want to call it. And it's doing some damage, but Ed and Greed essentially have enough dexterity about them to avoid most of what Pride is doing, but that's about all they can do. There is no offense at all. Hohenheim manages to wake up Alphonse. Really cool kind of sequence of Alphonse, like, I guess, regaining consciousness. Perhaps even describing it as unconscious is wrong, because we know Al can't sleep. Perhaps it's more along the lines of like he's in the portal, right? His body's pulled his soul into the portal, and that's probably what that whole him waking up thing was kind of symbolizing. But Alphonse describes that, yes, Pride took over my body, and Hohenheim reveals something very interesting, that in a very distant way, the homunculi and Alphonse and Ed are related. Because Father, you know, is made from Hohenheim's blood. He's very somewhat a copy of Hohenheim. And the homunculi are made from Father. Therefore, in some distant way, they are related. So perhaps that's how the homunculi can interact with Alphonse's seal. We did see that shot, I think it was 2 episodes ago, when they captured Alphonse. Pride's like shadow hands like surrounding Alphonse's seal. And that must have been when it was able to take over Alphonse's suit of armor. right? And there was emphasis last episode on when Ed and Fu were using those flashbangs and the shadow detached from Alphonse. That was Pride losing control over Alphonse. And they've pretty much come to the conclusion that there is almost no way that we are going to be able to beat Pride. Not with who we have here now, not in these circumstances, you know, with the fire giving all of this light and shadows. There is no way we can defeat Pride here and now. So it's Alphonse's idea for this plan. But the way Hohenheim walks up to Pride, just so confident, it's just, oh, it was so good. You know, the hero always waits until the last second. This is Hohenheim coming out and saying this, who I really thought was going to do a little bit more the first time he fought Pride in the tunnel, but he did just enough. Because Hohenheim has been an alchemist for hundreds and hundreds of years at this point. He also has a philosopher's stone. And when Alphonse says, like, you'd probably be a pretty good alchemist, right? And he's like, yeah, I know a thing or two. I'm like, come on, man, you've got to be like a top tier alchemist. So it's pretty much just a big fake out. Like Hohenheim is kind of showing Pride, like, right, I'm going to do something. Pride's attention is on him. Alphonse comes from behind. It did seem like a very weak play, right? And I feel like Pride should have been able to see through that. But like, they're like, this is your plan. You're just going to distract me, have Alphonse run up behind me. But no, it's very easy for us to see as viewers, like there's something more to this. This entire ploy was for Alphonse to grab Pride's attention, and then Hohenheim using his philosopher's stone or the red lightning effects coming off to seal up Pride and Alphonse in this massive ball of earth. Such a sick shot. It was fantastic. And it was easy for him. He did not have to move a muscle. He did not break a sweat. He just stood there. He's activated, you know, I guess his philosopher's stone, and bang, up comes the massive seal. Pride's lost his mind. He screams out Hohenheim. Shadow comes out to him and it stops just short. As soon as the shadow went out, I instantly thought of Lust versus Roy, right? When Lust's ultimate spear was this close to hitting Roy. It was the same thing. It was the same vibe. I love it. But it's a great plan. Like, we cannot defeat Pride in this instance. And like I said during the episode, for the homunculi, losing Pride, and I guess Gluttony as well, right, is a much greater loss than our side losing Alphonse. No offense to Alphonse at all, but you have to respect Pride's power at this point. And it's perfect because, like Alphonse says, it's essentially a war of attrition. Pride can do nothing. There is no light. There are no shadows. Pride cannot do his thing. Alphonse needs no sleep, needs no food, needs nothing. He can just chill in there forever until the promised day is over. And that's the plan, right? I feel like something will happen and Pride will get out, or he'll be able to do something to Alphonse. I really don't know. But at this point, this was a really good move for them. And it seems like at this point, Ed is doing everything he possibly can to go out of his way to twist these situations around to make it so it's Hohenheim's fault. Hohenheim's doing something bad, you know? And it's just like what Darius said a few episodes ago, and greed and everything else, right? You're holding on to this grudge, man. Like, I get it. I completely understand it. And I've talked about it to death at this point. But man, you've got to think of the big picture here. I understand your feelings towards Hohenheim, right? You don't know the full story yet. Okay, I get it. But Hohenheim handles the situation very well, like as a father, right? He's just like, this was Alphonse's idea. Right? This is what he came up with so that everyone could survive, right? He was thinking about all of y'all. And the more I think about this sort of stuff and I watch the scenes play out again, I just feel like at this point, with the promised day upon us, is there even time for Ed and Hohenheim to truly reconcile, to really get all of the truth out there about what's really happened between Hohenheim and Trisha, everything else before that, why he really left, Hohenheim's true feelings towards his family. And I just feel like, look, you kind of know how these shows go. I feel like when that does happen, I feel like, I don't know how we're going to get here, but it just feels like Hohenheim is going to be on death's door, right? Like I've said this a while back, I feel like we're not going to get the super happy family ending, at least for Hohenheim. Right? I just get that feeling. So I can really see a world where something happens with father. We know Hohenheim doesn't want to be immortal anymore. He's going to be on death's door and they're finally going to reconcile, or some situation like that. Don't get me wrong. I would love it if that wasn't the case, that Hohenheim is able to grow old with the rest of his family, Ed and Al. But you just know how these shows go, right? Something is going to happen, but we'll have to see, right? We're going to stay open-minded about that. And now we get a little bit of greed here, right? On his way to Central, right? As soon as he's realized the only homunculus left is Sloth. Lust is gone, gluttony is gone, envy is still with May, presumably. Who knows what's going on with that? They did mention May briefly. It passed through some area that Scar was revisiting here a few weeks prior to these events. Again, who knows what she's been doing? Who knows where she is now? Pride has eaten gluttony and is now trapped. Wrath is, to Greed's knowledge, at East Command. To everyone else's knowledge, Wrath is who knows, right? Blown up by the train, but out there somewhere. So Greed is like carrying on from a few episodes ago. I want the whole world. I'm going to Central. It's just Father and Sloth. Can I do something here? Perhaps, is that what he's thinking? Like, can he take control of all of these events or step in at some point and rule the world? Like, that's what Greed wants. But Greed was showing a lot of care this episode, right? Like making sure Ed was okay. Even last episode, like really grateful for Ling, which is not very Greed-like. But Greed is getting the most homunculus development outside of Bradley, I guess, and even Pride a little bit this episode as well. But Greed is really like doing things, So I'm really curious to see where we go with this. And I'm sure Lan Fan is really upset with the fact that Greed's taken Ling right off to Central. Fu's gone to do some recon, like they did mention, probably also concerned with Ling. But there'll be a big, Shingi situation between, at the very least, Ling and Lan Fan, right? And I'm assuming Fu will be involved as well. Maybe even Mei, right? We'll see. I'm looking forward to that. But when Scar does turn up to wherever it is he is, he's looking for Kanama, right? He's trying to get to the slums where everyone else is. Now, I'm racking my brain a little bit trying to figure out why Scar specifically wants to go to Kanama. Perhaps there's been like some connection between him and the other group about like we're going to meet here. I really don't think it's coincidental. I just couldn't see a specific instance where it made sense for Scar to be going to Kanama. But clearly this was a plan because we've all met up again at the end of the episode. And then we get our first bit of Kimberly since he instigated the Briggs and Drachma war and soaked Briggs in blood to carve the crest of blood, right? He seems underground, killing off Ishvalans. We have the pairing of Scar and Kimberly, right? Kimberly, a massive part of the Ishvalan war, continuing his slaughter of Ishvalans. Is this a group of Ishvalans that have been like, getting ready for this fight that Scar's been, helping get together and Kimberly's just found them, but he is just as demonic as ever. But just a quick minute of Kimberly, just to let you know what he's doing and that he's still nuts. And then a very interesting conversation between Pride and Alphonse. And it was a very well constructed conversation because it gave some insight into Pride as well as Pride getting his point across. Because Alphonse is like, look, you think your plan was really that good? All we would have had to do is leave the country, right? And then you don't have your important sacrifices and you can't do your thing, right? And Pride pretty much says, well, you're right. But we knew you wouldn't. And then Pride makes a fantastic comparison to his mother, right? To Mrs. Bradley, right? Wrath's wife. She's completely unawares of who Salim is, right? That's what Salim says. Like, Bradley's wife just thinks she is living, the life that she is, right? She is the Führer's wife. They have their adopted son, Salim. It's all honky-dory. And Salim, Pride is saying, look, one time I was almost hit by a car and Mrs. Bradley, Mrs. Wrath, whatever you want to call her, jumped in, risked her life to save me. And he was really taken aback by how selfless that was. And he's like, okay, there are some very selfless people in the world. And he says some very interesting things that you just wouldn't expect from a homunculus, much less Pride, saying like, I never knew what it was like to have a mother. I've always known what it's like having a father, being the father. But through this and the time I spent with Mrs. Bradley, I really enjoyed that time and I found what it was like to have a mother. And it's just so interesting that like through all of this, like Pride is still able to think and say those things about this situation. But all of this is pretty much Pride's way of saying, look, there are people here who are willing to give up their own lives for things they care about. Alphonse and Ed are no different, right? They knew they're not going to leave Amestris, right? With all of this going on, they're willing to get involved, put themselves in danger for all the people that they love and care for, right? They knew they wouldn't leave, and they were right. But Alphonse was really trying to get in Pride's head here. Like, Alphonse feels like he has the upper hand in this situation, which he very well could. But Pride, very cunningly, in his much older, wiser state, is able to say, look, you may think you knew what we were thinking, that our plan was very flawed, right? And it easily could have been stopped. Yet, here we are, But I really enjoyed that conversation. I got a little bit disinterested in the middle when he was talking about his mother, but then I realized the comparison he was making to Ed and Alphonse and just selfless people in general. And I was like, okay, that's very smart, like very well written. And just the way that Alphonse's head is just sitting on the floor and Salim's just hitting it with a stick. I'm like, that's just, it's got to mean something, but it's just weird. And then we get a graveyard scene. Roy's visiting Hughes's grave once again. Hawkeye turns up. And it instantly reminded me of the flashback scene of Roy and Hawkeye. I believe they were visiting Riza's father's grave, Roy's master, you know, in flame alchemy. And it almost looked like Hawkeye was going to say something to Roy. And then Roy turns around. And to me, my takeaway from this scene is I think Hawkeye might have been expecting Roy to be crying again at Hughes's grave. And perhaps she was going to say something to comfort him. But he turns around and he's just like, he looks very confident. Like he looks like he knows what he has to do here. Like he's not crying, he's not sad. And Hawkeye seems quite surprised by this. But maybe she genuinely had something else to say and Roy just happened to cut her off. But that was my takeaway from that. There was some emphasis on you know, the facial expressions going on there. But a really cool ending to that scene. Hawkeye walks off of screen, you know, leaving Hughes's gravestone there. We haven't forgotten Hughes. We haven't forgotten, you know, his sacrifice, you know, what he did for all of this, you know. We're not going to let his death be in vain. I really like that they're still paying homage to Hughes. So Scar and Marco's group arrives at Kanama. The 4 Chimeras reunite, which was really cool. I was waiting for this moment. Initially, they don't really trust each other. Some of them still think, are you still working for Kimberly? Like, what's going on? You're trying to trick us. But Edward like shouts at them and they all get on the same page, which is really cool. I really like it. The 4 Chimeras that were working for Kimberly have turned around and are now on this side. It's really cool. And I love the shot of Darius and Heinkel like talking about their situations and Heinkel looking over to, you know, Ed and Hohenheim, Scar, Marco, Yoki, and Fu and saying, I know for a fact that these guys would never abandon us. Just shows how much they've come to trust them, the impact they've all had on each other throughout the months that they've been together. You know, really cool. I love how much like some of these minor characters, you know, Jerzo, Sampano, Darius, and Heinkel, they're just getting so much attention and so much love in this show, and it's great. Like no character is being forgotten. We even got some Brosh. I'd completely forgotten that Brosh and even Ross were in the show at this point. You know, we just haven't seen them for so long, but like some of you have even been saying, like they're even referencing a lot of things from the manga as well. No character is forgotten. I think that's very important in these shows. And this is a perfect length of show to really give all the characters that have some level of importance the attention that they deserve. Sick little outro to the episode. Ed picks up his red coat. Alphonse is in there doing everything he can to protect us, right? The rest is up to us. Outro starts playing. Coat is on. It's time. The promised day is upon us, right? Things are about to go down. And to me, look, I'm feeling like next episode is the start of the final arc, right? When I hit play and I see a different intro, I'll know for sure, right? Then I can watch intro 4 and ending 4, which I'm very, very excited about. And I'm going to ask you guys right now as well. I don't know how many of you actually watched to this point in the discussion, but can I watch opening 5 straight away? I think someone might have said that early on in my OP1 reaction, that I can watch OP5 as soon as it drops. But if not, again, I'll wait, but I would love to watch it straight away if possible, and the ending as well. But let me know about that. Okay, and then the post-credit scene, like I said before, we get Brosh. As soon as I saw the subtitle pop up and it was Brosh, I was like, oh my god, I had completely forgotten. So Brosh with 2 of his younger siblings, you know, just waking up. It's the promised day, you know, the solar eclipse is happening, you know, let's get up. You know, his little brother is looking out the window, right, and he sees a fire happening. Pan to Roy and his crew, they're down there in the streets, you know, Roy is doing his thing, you know, making a commotion. They've got Bradley's wife with them. And some of the higher up soldiers are saying, look, and they're pretty much acting in Bradley's place. Like, we don't know where Bradley is, but he's not there to call the shots. So this soldier has said, look, Bradley's wife, whatever, you know, she's expendable. The only one we need alive is Roy, which to me is saying they're potentially considering Roy to be a sacrifice, right? They did mention that a while ago, that Roy was a possibility. This was a very long time ago, but I haven't forgotten. And we got that little standoff at the end, you know, Roy's squad with Hawkeye, Breda, and Fury. They've got Bradley's wife at gunpoint. Hawkeye does, right? The rest of them, they're all being surrounded by some soldiers, right? At gunpoint. The order is pretty much kill everyone but Roy. There's a shot of a soldier just about to squeeze the trigger, pans away, gunshots happen. You know, it's always something different when that happens, right? One shot goes off and then there's multiple shots that follow. Again, Look, it's very cliffhangery. You know nothing bad could have happened, but I could be wrong. We're about to enter the final arc. It's the Promised Day. Who knows? Like, I'm expecting casualties. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really hoping, like, look, Roy and Hawkeye, you know, they have stuff they have to do, right? Ed and Alphonse, Winry, they all have stuff they have to do. Like, they obviously need to survive. I need them to survive, you know? Like, I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying I need them to, right? I need to see them at the end of this show. I need Roy to be the Führer. I need Hawkeye to be at his side. I need Ed and Alphonse to get their bodies back. You know, I need Winry and Ed to get together and Alphonse and May to get together, you know, Roy and Hawkeye. I need all that to happen. I can't express how much I need that to happen, you know. I need those conclusions. But that's it. Next episode, it's officially the Promised Day. We'll find out what's happened with Roy and his squad here. We'll find out what the next move is for Ed and Scar and that group and Hohenheim. You know, who else needs to join the fray, right? Where's Izumi and Sig? Are they going to get involved? What's May been doing? When is she going to come back into the picture? What in the world is going on with Envy? Where is Bradley? Still so many questions, and it's about to just become probably the best part of the show, and I can't wait for it. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this and for other shows as well. And as always, please feel free to leave comments and feedback down below. You know, I always appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next episode of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.